What's up, fight fans? Let's dive right into today's news. Here's what's going down. Jon Jones is officially back in the UFC's anti-doping program just weeks after announcing and then ending a brief 2-week retirement. The former heavyweight champ stepped away, relinquishing his title to Tom Aspinall, but reversed course after the president revealed plans for a UFC event at the White House in 2026. Jones is now undergoing mandatory testing, aiming for a return next year, with speculation swirling about a potential matchup against the winner of Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Eryk Anders' potential retirement fight at UFC Vegas 109 ended in brutal fashion after Christian Leroy Duncan floored him with a spinning back elbow and follow-up punches. The strike left Anders with a gruesome gash over his eye that required stitches, with Dana White later sharing the before and after photos. Elijah Smith scored a spectacular first-round slam knockout over Kazama at UFC on ESPN 72, drawing comparisons to Quinton Rampage Jackson's iconic pride finish of Ricardo Arona. The 9-1 prospect and second-generation UFC fighter lifted Kazama from bottom position and slammed him out cold at 4:10 of round 1. After the win, Smith gave a shout-out to Rampage and hoped the highlight reel finish earns him a performance bonus.
I knew I had to slam him correctly. I had to slam. Unfortunately, I had to slam him on his known piece. I knew I wanted to get that 50K bonus or put myself in that talks.
Former flyweight title challenger Steve Erceg ended his 3-fight skid with a hard-fought unanimous decision win over O'Day Osborne in the UFC Vegas 109 co-main event. After being dropped in the first round, Erceg battled back with improved striking, takedowns, and dominant ground control in the final frame. The victory keeps the Aussie fan favorite's UFC career alive and puts him back in the win column. Martin Buday, fresh off a win over Marcus Buchica, was surprisingly not re-signed by the UFC despite a strong 7-1 run in the promotion. The heavyweight has now signed with European promotion Oktagon MMA, where a future clash with two-division champ Will Fleury is already being teased. Buday leaves the UFC on a 3-fight win streak, saying he departs with his head held high. Sharing a post on X, the European promotion announced the signing on Saturday, with Buday putting pen to paper during Oktagon 74. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez dominated Roman Dolidze at UFC Vegas 109, securing a 4th-round standing arm triangle choke to notch his 8th straight victory. After the win, he called for a title shot against the winner of Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319. During his post-fight interview with Daniel Cormier, Fluffy said,
"Man, I want a title shot. What I do? Give me a title shot and I promise I'll be the next champ. I want to prove that I can take a title. I want a belt. I want something. I want to prove that I'm the best in the world."
Responding to Hernandez's performance, Dricus du Plessis wrote on X, "What a performance by Fluffy." At UFC Vegas 109, Daniel Cormier had a playful jab at light heavyweight Julius Walker after he walked out to ABBA's Dancing Queen and shook hands with his opponent Rafael Cerquera's corner before the fight. While praising the song choice, Cormier laughed that if he were still fighting, he'd have kicked Walker for the gesture, saying he wanted no part of such friendliness in his own career. The lighthearted moment had the broadcast booth in stitches during an otherwise violent night of fights. Everybody goes and shakes the other corner's hands. I would have kicked him. Get your ass out of here. Do you agree with DC? Should fighters shake each other's hands before a fight? Paddy Pimblett says he's still hoping to face UFC lightweight champ Ilia Topuria next, fresh off his stoppage win over Michael Chandler at UFC 314. The baddie dismissed Arman Tsarukyan as a spoiled rich boy and criticized Dan Hooker after recent comments, while expressing respect for Justin Gaethje despite his lack of interest in the matchup. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Paddy said,
"All I kept getting asked this weekend was who are you fighting, when are you fighting Ilia, when are you fighting Ilia? I have no idea. Hopefully it is going to be me versus the Chorizo next, and I think that's what all the Americans want, because every American I bump into keeps saying, when are you going to smash that sausage's head in? I'm hoping that gets sorted, but I understand that I am ranked 9 or something, so other people probably are more deserving, but posh boy definitely isn't. Little rich boy Arman, showing how desperate he is, offering him £1 million to fight him. Spoiled rich baby, trying to pay the way out of things. That's why he quit when he was making weight in a bath like a little bitch. Arman's irrelevant, no one cares about him. As I always say, I've got nothing but respect for Justin, but I keep seeing in interviews him saying he doesn't want to fight me. I think the only fighter makes me and Ilia.
What do you guys think? Who should Paddy face next? Renato Moicano believes Charles Oliveira made a big mistake by accepting a quick turnaround fight against knockout artist Rafael Fiziev at UFC Fight Night 261 in Rio, just 105 days after being knocked out by Ilia Topuria. Moicano says the matchup offers little upside for Oliveira, but carries huge risk, warning that a second straight loss could be devastating for Du Bronx at this stage of his career. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Moicano said, "In my opinion, this is the worst fight in the rankings for Charles Oliveira. It's a fight that doesn't add anything for Charles. Great, you beat Rafael Fiziev. What changes then? What does this change in the ranking? I don't think it changes anything. If Fiziev beats him, which I think is most likely, unfortunately. Why did he accept this fight? Why did his team accept this fight? You saved UFC Rio, but at the price of destroying Charles Oliveira's career." Francis Ngannou was noticeably absent from the inaugural PFL Africa event in Cape Town on July 18th, despite serving as the promotion's Africa chairman. PFL founder Donn Davis admitted he was shocked and disappointed by Ngannou's no-show, calling it a missed opportunity to support his vision of growing MMA in Africa. The event featured top names like Johnny Eblen, Dakota Dichiva, and Khabib Nurmagomedov in attendance. Speaking to media at the event, Donn Davis said, "You have to ask Francis why he was not present. I'm not going to hide it. I expected him. This is part of his vision, so that all those fighters out there don't have to leave the continent like he did. We worked for 2 years. I'm direct and say what I think. I'm disappointed." Dricus du Plessis' coach Morn Visser claims the middleweight champ will beat Khamzat Chimaev at his own game when they clash on August 16 in Chicago. In the UFC 319 countdown, Visser called Chimaev one-dimensional and promised DDP will be the first to take him down, dismissing Boers' striking as unthreatening.
Khamzat doesn't know what it is when people want to wrestle him. He's only facing guys who's trying to get away from his wrestling. We don't want to try to get away from his wrestling. We want to pick him up in his game. You can't think that you're going to beat my guy coming with one thing, and that's wrestling. That guy's one-dimensional. Have you seen his stand-up? I won't even give him a pro license for his stand-up. He doesn't present any problem for us. We are the problem.
Do you guys think Dricus can out-wrestle Chimaev? Let us know in the comment section below. That's all for today's news. Thanks for watching. If you like our content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We post news daily.